Margavan and Melanine, and well met indeed. I am Aracher Galadirthin, the head of Divide and Conquer, and welcome to the first episode of the Clans of Enedwaith, which has been voted for in the poll, and as you saw from the poll, won by a mere 2 votes. Redonkulously crazy. I shan't deny that I'm pleased Enedwaith won. Whilst I know some of you did say you'd like to see me out of my comfort zone, as it were, and play with an Orc faction, I would remind you that Enedwaith play very similarly to an Orc faction. So the Anduin campaign, whilst they're wild men, they use ambush and they use very good archers. That's Anduin's sort of niche: is strong generals, bodyguard, strong archers, and almost everything can ambush. Whereas with Enedwaith, the focus is entirely on skirmish, numbers, and javelins. So they win through sheer numbers, which they do have to their advantage. They win through their excellent javelin troops, if you can use them properly. And they win through skirmishing with the enemy. So whilst it does say Masters of Ambush, they're not as many of their units can hide anywhere as Anduin can. But all Wildmen factions are better at ambushing than most other factions. It's one of their key points anyway, so you get that with them all. But the point I'm trying to highlight is that Enedwaith are quite similar to Orcs in their play style. So yes, I am pleased that they won. I didn't really want to play as Isengard very much. There are a lot of Isengard Let's Plays already. What could I bring new to the table other than just it be me narrating it? And of course, it would. I could talk you through some of the modding bits and pieces in it and some of the features and stuff. But other than that, Isengard has been done to death. And I would rather focus on factions added uniquely by DAC so that I can explain away some of their changes. And I can also look to see if they need any more improvements. Now, what I will say about Enedwaith, I have already extensively gone over Enedwaith, and they've received a lot of attention already. And there will probably be minor stat changes here and there. Stat changes occur all the time, but the bulk of the Enedwaith gameplay is already set. So I will do some changes. I expect I've already increased the shield value of the River Spearman. But other than that, there won't be that many changes. You can pause it and have a read of these if you want. There's neighbours, there's early expansion, and then there's military, and our weaknesses, and then the little bit that we know about the clans. Our weaknesses I shall highlight here. The clans, we have very weak units, and that's really quite accurate. We really do have really weak units. We have very few elite units. That's also very accurate. Our best unit, which is only available if we unite all of Enedwaith, is only as good as sort of upper middle tier Gondor units. We're really outclassed, really outclassed. And unlike Anduin, we can't even rely on our bodyguards to put us through. I think in terms of raw stat power, Enedwaith are the worst of the 3 Wildmen factions. So it's an interesting one to play. It is very interesting. Another reason that makes it really interesting is this section down here. Enedwaith's victory conditions require that you kill no one. If you really want to, and if you could find a way, you can essentially remain at peace with every single faction in the game and try and win by just claiming rebel regions. Now, of course, that's not really possible because you'd need to take almost every rebel province at game start because you'll be beaten to a lot of them by the enemies. But there's no enemy requirement in the victory conditions. So I'm pleased with because almost every good faction has a requirement to defeat Mordor, and it just gets quite samey. Of course, you will naturally have a hatred towards Gondor and Bree, and you will have I think you're neutral with Dunland because whilst you're next to them and you're both wild men, that's sort of the situation whereby within a single country there's always people vying for power, and it's that sort of relationship you have with Dunland. You are completely neutral to Isengard. Oh, sorry. So with Dunland, you slightly don't like each other. But you're completely neutral to Isengard, and you're completely neutral to Rohan and the elves, but you don't like Bree or Gondor. Or the Northern Dunedain. And I've lied, actually. In an attempt to make the AI hate each other, the elves and Enedwaith don't like each other. But nothing ever comes of that, because the elves, for some reason, never think they're stronger than you, even though if I go to war with the elves, you will see how much of a struggle it is to beat them. They really outclass us. But we hate Gondor and we hate the Northern Dunedain for the only fact that we know about the men of Enedwaith, and that is that the Númenóreans chopped down our forests. But we'll talk about that more as we go into the battles. I always play on very hard, because A, Third Age Total War tells you that you should play on very hard. That is how the game is balanced. That is what it's balanced for, and we follow that same pattern, so always try very hard if you can. Our best unit are Foresters of Haleth. They're a ranger unit with a interesting fox helmet. Our weaknesses are we get poor smithing. We do have restricted construction, like the Anduin. We have poor cavalry. That's very accurate. Our cavalry are virtually useless. And overall, our roster is weak. But our strengths come from our javelin units, our ability to hide more so than other factions, and we have no enemies at the beginning of the game. You may notice that in your own games, it normally takes Enedwaith quite a while before they bother attacking anyone, and that's because they start at peace with all around them. So, let's get to it. To quote The Lonely Island. I really am pleased that Enedwaith won, I must confess. But the first thing I'm going to do, because now I can finally show you all, is let's just put the Enedwaith campaign aside for a second, and I will toggle Fog of War and show you the changes to the map. I can't remember if I already have done, actually, but if I have done, then I apologise, I'm about to do it again. But first of all, we'll read through the little scripts. This is a little tidbit about Enedwaith. It gives you some information about them, a stirring speech style information, as a backdrop of what our lands look like and where we are on the map. You can have a read of that if you play as Enedwaith. Of course, you can read all of these by just playing as the faction, reading these, and then quitting, and it just gives you the information. For anyone who wants to unite the clans, the exact conditions are listed on this scroll. Now, what may not become clear to many of you is down here where you can see we need to claim dominion over the clans of Lugia, Malfin, Maranaith, Cairiel, Saraline, Erunvorn, and Caladir. The actual region names have those names. So, as you can see, Caladir, which is the castle of Argond in the north there, that region is called Caladir. So the clan names are the region names. So you can instantly tell where all of those clans are by just checking the regions. I've just pointed with a pencil, not the mouse, didn't I? You can check where all of these clans are by just right-clicking on the regions if you have sight range and getting where they are. So there's Cairiel and Lugia already held by us. Cairiel and Lugia. Maranaith is already held by us. The Bay of Eisen is also listed because if you go further down, it says we also must bring the banners of Outford to the Druidine of Parthior, Druithior, and the Eisen Bay. Bay of Eisen. Cryptic, isn't it? Very cryptic. That's quite simply it. So you need to hold everywhere from Balorn and Gund. These are the two southern regions. And then everything north. You don't need to bother with Bregnas, I don't think, unless Fort Rui is listed. No, I think I did add Bregnas, but I didn't add Derwath. So you need Gund, Balorn, and then you need to head north. You need the 3 Dunlending regions, very key. They are clans of Enedwaith. Dunland just happen to be the strongest clan of Enedwaith. And you also need Argond and Saraline and the 2 up to Dol Vorn. Very, very key. So that's how you unite the clans. Right, let's toggle Fog of War and have a look at the map. These are the changes to the river I speak of. First of all, there is now a port in northern Tharbad. It marks the top of the Gwathlo River. The other feature is that now you can just sail around the port. So the rivers have been artificially widened in places. But it still sort of follows the flow. It just makes it look like the river's a bit bigger in certain points. And it goes down. And the port of Londare has now just been moved to the peak out there. Obviously, Londare itself was a port city, but it just blocked the way. It was really difficult to make the river wider there. There was too much going on. It was way easier just to put the port there. So let's assume there is a port in Londare. This is just a secondary port. So those are the changes to the Gwathlo River. The changes to the Anduin River are as follows. Caer Andros now has a normal river on its right-hand side, as you can see there. Which means that battles coming from that right-hand side are just standard river battles with a ford that you can walk across. So no longer will you have armies dying in the river or reinforcements not being able to join in. On the left-hand side, it is still a land bridge. So the left-hand side will suffer from some of those problems, but that's mostly because with 2 rivers it looked really terrible and hardly any battles were fought on that left, so I went with it like that. The other change, of course, you can now sail past Ostithil. That port has been brought out into its own little bay, and you can sail past that. So there's the changes there. And finally, the river running, the Kelduin. Slight movement there, slight movement there, slightly larger there, slightly larger there, much larger on that section, and all the way up to Esgaroth. Also, it's very minor, and some of you may not have even noticed it, but these villages were positioned on the tile directly next to the river, so they used to jut out half into the river, which didn't get in the way of ships, but graphically it just looks stupid, so I've just bumped them in one. So they no longer do look like that. And that is about it, really. In this campaign, you will also see for the first time a new unit that have been added to Rohan. Rohan have been given another middle tier, I believe, but upper middle tier cavalry unit. So we will be facing off against them. I plan on playing Enedwaith in the same way I've been playing Umbar. I will just attack everyone. However, I will be more cautious because I'm not an idiot. And I know that Enedwaith don't have the raw power to just sweep people away like Umbar do. So we will need to be cautious on that. I'm also going to be well aware that there's a chance that Umbar might attack us. In a few campaigns I've seen, they hold the castle of Balorn, and I believe it is an invasion target. So we've got to keep our eyes open for that. But otherwise, that is the 10-minute introduction done. 10 minutes and 42 seconds. We can now dive in. So let's have a look at our situation. Alkford is our capital. And Moot Lord Tramak is our faction leader. And he has, as his bodyguard, our greatest unit. Yeah, we'll get some watchtowers around Lugia.
This tower will keep vigil over the land.
The Guardians of Enedwaith. This is the unit available when you unite the clans. They're incredibly powerful, especially their javelins. The javelins are ridiculous. They are armor-piercing, the javelins. They go through bodies, so they're body-piercing. And, of course, they have the high 12 missile attack. And they also have more javelins than any other javelin unit. So they are really, really vicious.
This tower will keep vigil over the lands. This tower will keep vigil over the lands.
So I recommend taking them down quickly
This tower will keep
if you're ever
vigil over
fighting
the
against them.
lands.
Right, Alkford capital. Let's lower the tax rate. Another change I've made is the walls will now give a public order bonus. And this is more evident in castles. Although it won't be for us because we can't upgrade our castles. But a Motte and Bailey will only give you 5%. But then the next one will give you 15. And the one after that will give you 30. And then whatever is after that. Sorry, 25. So it will go 5, 15, 25. Whereas the normal towns will go... I believe the towns will go 10, 20, 30. So slightly different. So towns and castles are different, but they give a bonus now. The Great Clan Hall is a unique building to Alkford and is just a one-off building for Alkford, where your Moot Keepers come from, and it gives a few bonuses through there as well. And that is part of the clan script, which you may see a little of as this campaign progresses. First things first, let's get free upkeep wherever we can. Low tax rates on everyone. And that's it. That is it. We have 4 starting regions. Nothing particularly to shout about. And our first target, or your first target as Enedwaith, should always be the castle, the port city of Londare. For it is a big moneymaker. So... let's begin gathering an army. Like the other Wildmen factions, all of our troops come from a single barracks building. So be they archers, be they cavalry, be they foot soldiers, they come from the single building. Outlaws are our basic militia. They have a very high attack, they have a terrible defense, terrible charge, and they cost a lot of money. So they are only to be used in dire circumstance. But we can at least get 1 free upkeep from here, and then we're going to have 2 free upkeep from here. So get each of those there. Alkford can train the bulk of our army. Tramak is going to be used a lot. Let's plop in... see, they're very, very cheap to recruit outlaws, but they cost a lot in the long run. So they're a nice little twist on the conventional unit styles of this game. Get those. Get those. Right, we will get them everywhere we can. We'll form up 1 large army. Get a diplomat and a spy. River units... well, we'll just rinse it, actually, let's be honest.
Your orders, my lord.
Let's get our...
yes, my lord.
Dunland are really aggressive. First
This tower will keep vigil over the lands.
point to note. Dunland
This
are very,
tower will keep
very,
vigil over the lands.
very eager to go to
Yes,
war with Enedwaith.
my lord.
And they do it frequently. So you've got to be on your guard for
Continuing
them.
tomorrow. Erecting a watchtower.
In contrast, Isengard are not actually that bad. Isengard don't tend to bother with Enedwaith that much. And if you leave them alone, they'll leave you alone. So
We're ready to ambush the enemy. Erecting a watchtower.
let's get the towers on the borders up.
Erecting a watchtower. Yes.
Head back. Right, once our armies are all
Continuing
gathered,
tomorrow.
we'll gather near Alkford. 1443, write that down. 1443. I have no longer got it in compatibility mode for Windows 8. And the combination of that and this being turn 1 has instantly sped up the turns, as we can see. I mean, what was that? That was 1443 to 1503. That was 20 seconds compared to the minute and 10 seconds in the... Oh, that means nothing to any of you, does it? Because you've not seen that video yet. It's going to go up in like 2 weeks, but I recorded it yesterday. Ignore that. In one of the videos to come, my turn times for some reason dropped to about 50 seconds. And so I said I'd look into why that is, and I've looked into why that is, and I've fixed it for this one, but you won't see the... It doesn't really make any sense anymore, but ignore that. We've got a clan moot at Alkford. The clans have recommendations for me. Though your council may have its own advice, the clans believe the rebellion of Clan Malfin has lasted long enough. They've fortified the walls of Londare, and they hold within their city. Their rebellion may incite others to do the same, and the clans recommend you send warriors to reclaim Londare and make Malfin kneel once more. Even if victory is achieved, the clans are unsure if they will end their troublemaking or continue to cause problems for us. And Dolvaughan. Oh, I forgot about Dolvaughan. Sorry, friends. Dolvaughan gets a unique unit in the early game. The Erin Vaughan Woodsman. And we have cultural unrest because there are 30% elven population in Dolvaughan, apparently.
My lord.
I must confess that I really like Enedwaith.
Your command.
They are one of my top 5 favourites, I'm fairly certain. I've said that before. And it still holds true now.
Your orders, my
We're not making very much money with all our generals out and about.
Honor. This tower will keep vigil over the lands.
We also have expensive towers because we are a wildman faction.
Lord, this is a perfect position to ambush. Erecting a watchtower.
Right. The outlaws will remain behind to be garrisoned wherever they can be garrisoned. But we should see an improvement.
My lord.
Right. Send our spy across. Let's find out what Londare is doing.
Tomorrow.
And our diplomat.
My lord.
Let us attempt to get map information and trade rights with our immediate neighbours.
Tomorrow's journey planned.
So, many of you are wondering what I'm talking about when I say Enedwaith hate Númenóreans, and that is all we know about Enedwaith. The first point of call is obviously there. It's a land. Enedwaith is the name of the region and the name of the clans or the faction in this, so the names will be used interchangeably. I see that turn was really quick. Game's loving it. Leather Town in Caras. I'll carry on talking about the Númenórean thing in a moment. I also wanted to just mention that I've got a new plan that I'm going to use for how videos get published.
With honor.
And what I'm thinking is because if I do essentially a video a day bar one day. And each campaign I tend to do, I do them in pairs, don't I? So what my plan is now going to be is if I ever do 3 videos of a section, 2 of those videos will go up on the same day, and then the next one will follow. So there will always be 2 days dedicated to X faction, and then the next 2 days will be a different faction. And then that should mean that there's only ever about a week between each pair or each triplet of videos. That is my plan.
My lord.
So,
your orders, my lord.
That's how I'm going to do it. Right, we can't train you. So we won't with you. We will take... Oh, why is home gone back there? I've put my keys in, though. That's very, very irritating. That shouldn't be home. I have to have a look in the...
My lord. Orders. Yes. We can go no further.
Sorry, I pressed a key on my mouse, which is meant to select all, and instead it jumped to the capital. Which means it's not currently bound to the set all command. Take you and you as well.
We have marched our limit.
We are surrounded by rebels. We've got Gund as rebel, we've got Balorn as rebel, Londare is rebel, Saraline is rebel, Bregost is rebel, Argond is rebel. So we've got a lot of options.
Yes, my lord.
Danyard!
What is it you wish to discuss?
Trade rights, what are you feeling?
How could we have another worthy
Map
proposal
information, what are you
then?
thinking?
Excellent.
Yes.
You an honour and a pleasure.
Misty Mountains have been reached.
Farewell.
Oh, we got 2 more units. Right, drop all of them off.
My lord.
Yes, my lord.
All of you bar you 2.
Orders.
Step out.
Your orders, my lord.
My lord.
Everyone join Tremac.
Orders. Continuing tomorrow.
I went it down here. You can't join them, and they're going to come with us.
By your command. We
So
can
there's
go
just
no
a unit of
further
those there.
today.
Alright, everyone's moving out. So that will be my uploading schedule, just to finish that one off. So it will be, there will always be 2 days dedicated to that faction, and if there are 3 videos, or even if there are 4 videos, they will go up within those 2 days. Because otherwise the videos get too far apart between all the annual clan meet has ended at another new year. The issue of defence has been raised. Some of our clansmen have fallen to the swords of our neighbours, and this bodes ill for the safety of our borders. War with these encroaching factions could be fatal, and as such the clan lords believe we should begin to conquer the remaining outlanders and rebel clans who have not sworn for Enedwaith. They believe that for Enedwaith to stand strong in the face of adversity and to be sufficiently protected, our borders should extend from the castle of Argon down to Balaurn and from the village of Goon to the forest of Erin Vaughan. Ah, that is just a message about uniting the clans. Very well. I will look to try and do that, my lord. Good. Got the free upkeep. We will lose money for a while, but Londare is a very wealthy province.
Yes, my lord.
My lord.
Your will, my lord. By your
Orders. As you wish.
my lord.
You guys try and meet him
Your
over there.
orders,
Orders.
So we'll have to put up with losing money for a bit.
my lord. As you wish. Tomorrow's journey planned out.
My lord.
Might as
Yes.
Well, no, go back to there. You make us a bit of money. Although they don't like you, but you make us more money if you're in there. That's fascinating. Maybe with the troops you've got, you might be able to go and take Bregos. 3 units there. We can't train anyone here, though, can we?
My lord.
Orders.
Go and see how you get on down there. Right, that'll do us. Right, so why do the Enedwaith peoples hate Numenorians? Well, first of all, as I was saying, Enedwaith is a land populated by men. Now, unlike the elves that you may have seen in the lore video I spoke of, men didn't have some great journey. The Valar did not seek them out and try and save them. So little is known of A, where men awoke and what they did after that, and where they sort of marched to, where they went about. But it's known that they pretty much spread out and populated as many places as they could. We humans have a tendency to procreate.
Your will, my lord.
Yes, my lord.
Orders. By your
My lord.
And
Merging armies, my lord.
many of these men eventually found their way to
Taking
Beleriand,
down
where they
here.
then took part in the events of the First Age. Some of them on the side of Melkor, some of them on the side of the Elves. Those on the side of the Elves were gifted the land of Numenor, and those on the side of Melkor that didn't escape Beleriand were killed when it went under the sea. And those that did escape
Yes.
came back into
We have
Middle-earth,
marched our
and
limit.
we can assume just spread out amongst the lands of Middle-earth.
Yes, my
Is there something I can do for you? Your
Yes,
proposal
Gorthak.
is most Another course of wisdom to share.
Splendid.
Your
Isengard reached.
time was most valuable. We thank you.
I am very eager to support. Well, it's interesting. I'd like to remain ally with Rohan, but I'd like to attack Gondor. So the problem with attacking Gondor, though, is that by being strong on their western side, Mordor just absolutely overrun them, completely and utterly overrun them. They don't stand an earthly. So
your will.
Your orders, my lord.
it is a shame to see Gondor defeated so easily, but we just need territory. Remember, you can, if you want, completely ignore the south and just take out the northern Dunedain, take out Bree, take out the elves, and I probably will focus more on the north than the south. Because I've never fought against the elves, I've never fought against the northern Dunedain, I've never fought against Bree. The wood elves are already flourishing in turn 6. That means they've taken provinces
Yes, my
that
lord.
they don't normally go anywhere
As you
near.
wish.
Your orders, my lord.
Very interesting.
Assembling a mighty host to battle.
Again, we can't really do anything.
Yes, my lord.
So we will try and get
Impossible.
map information with
Yes.
the
Stopping
Dunedain.
here. Tomorrow's journey planned out.
My lord. By your command. Raise
Oh,
our banners!
no, we'll never take that down.
Prepare to assault the walls.
We have
We
Elder
lay
Guildsmen,
siege.
they have Elder Guildsmen, they have an
Siege
extra
force
unit of archers
reporting, my
and
lord.
woodsmen.
Orders.
No, we can't take that. We'll have to just pull back to Dolvorn and wait. So we'll run away when they rouse. So, we know that the people of Enedwaith may well be part of the group of collection of men who fought against the elves in the First Age. Either that, or they were just indigenous peoples who discovered Enedwaith, settled here, and began to procreate, to recreate. So, but we know for certain that they would not have been particularly fond of, or particularly hated the elves. They're kind of the assumption we can bring about
My
with
lord.
Enedwaith is that they are essentially neutral. They are the most
As
neutral
you
of all the
wish.
neutrals.
I shall continue tomorrow.
That is until the
Yes,
Kingdom
my
of
lord.
Numenor stepped
As you
onto the
command.
scene, and we will talk more about that in the next video because this one will end there. At the end of that turn. Nice, sharp, quick turns with the start of a campaign, isn't it? And also the turns are sped up because I've done some more little minor changes. But that will end the very first one. This one will go up today. Episode 2 will also go up today. And by today, I mean Tuesday. So you'll get to see 1 and 2 today, and then episode 3 will go up tomorrow on Wednesday. And possibly episode 4 as well, actually. We'll get the first 4 of the new campaign, a nice big chunk of new ones for you. And then it will continue back into the rotation system that exists. And I do hope you've all seen the Battle of Middle-earth video and left feedback on that, whether or not you think it's awful or good fun or what you think, whether it's a nice change. Do let me know in the comments of that video. Always eager to hear your feedback. For now, dear friends, and in the name of the clans, Navar and Aden Pedimad Melunin, and farewell.